This is a story about some legends and some creatures that walk a line. This is a story about a drip, a skull, a star, a tree, and a fireball. This is a story about colorless and mana. This is Cardboard Kitchen.
This episode of Cardboard Kitchen is brought to you by Box Gods, forgers of the Titan and Seer aluminum card boxes. BoxGods.com for the serious gamers. With this guy, every moment is a moment of craving. He searched for Escanta and found nothing. He wishes he had a pet merc-themed liege. He thinks Soren is a much better name than Edgar. Here is Colin, Cody, Garrick, and Dan. Cardboard Kitchen is now. Welcome to Cardboard Kitchen. We are here with the gang today, and we are going through cards already. And it looks like they are very busy.
We also have a special guest by the name of Christopher.
Hey, Christopher.
Hello.
So we got some other special guests too. We could get her to talk later. We're all packed in here because these guys are heading to Virginia. I was going and something came up, and now I may not be able to go. There's still hope, though. What are we doing there, fellas? Breaking it down? Breaking it down.
Yeah, we're currently doing a deck breakdown for a little bit later in the episode. I think the goal at the moment was to discuss prepping for Magic-related conventions. Was that right? What, Cody?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of what we're here for. We've got SCG Con. We're heading out tonight for the events that take place tomorrow. We'll get there safe and sound, unlike last time, because we had a bit of a trip last time. But
we had tons of fun last time, though.
We did have tons of fun.
We showed that mountain who was boss.
We showed the mountain who was boss, and then it showed us who was boss, and then we showed it who was boss, and then we got into a hotel room.
Oh, this sounds interesting. What happened?
So,
Little Van defeated by Small Hill.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't the small hill.
It was the snow on the small hill.
It was the 2 feet of snow packed on top.
Oh, it's a snow-covered mountain that you had to scoop on, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
that sounds like my night.
We're driving a little Toyota minivan, and you know, just look up the snowstorm of 2018 for SCG Con Winter. The events for that day got completely canceled on that Sunday,
except for like higher professional.
Yeah, the pro players did have to come in and show up and finish theirs because they were qualifying for like regionals and things like that. But we got completely snowed out of the convention. We did show up to the convention just to get told to turn around. Luckily, we had some very very kind workers there who were able to help us trade in our points and things like that, so that way we could get our prize ball stuff. But we went to leave right after we showed up to the con and told that the events weren't going to be held. And as we were trying to leave, my GPS saw that the main interstate was already closed due to inclement weather, so it tried to send us a back way.
Oh no!
Yeah, once it tries to send us a back way home, we're heading up a mountain. We're doing fairly decent for the most part until we get to quite an incline, and that is the point where we've got one tire off the road. We're teetering over the side of the mountain, and
wow.
we're sitting there, and I'm like, guys, please don't blame me if something bad happens. I'm going to try to get us out of this. And I go to back us up, and luckily we just barely catch the road. The car does not go down the mountain, and we're able to back up and out safely. It was a bit of a trip doing so, but I really don't even know how to say it. Like, it's really a miracle that we even made it to that hotel, because without the help of some very nice people and luck and everything being on our side, we probably wouldn't have made it to the hotel. We would have sat out a snowstorm in the van and been extremely cold.
Yeah, and about maybe an hour and a half of shoveling as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
But then you got a hotel room and then you went.
We got a hotel room and stayed put for 2 days.
Did you play a lot of games?
No.
Oh, really?
No, we really didn't play that much Magic in those 2 days. I think we
You hated each other and just...
No, we didn't do that. Like, some of us went swimming. One guy stayed in basically under the covers.
Yes.
For the majority of those 2 days.
I think you. I mean, we weren't going to be playing Magic those days anyway, because after that, those 2 days, the convention was over.
Right.
Now, while we were at the convention, we played so many games of Magic. We just nonstop. Colin had a really fun time. He did one of
the History Round Co event.
Yeah, that was really cool. I did a couple of drafts. All of us, I think, went out on the floor and did like a little bit of competitive EDH play, and then we also sat in the command zone and played our fun decks too. And we got to meet Sheldon Minery for the first time, and we got to play games with some of the Commander versus crew. I got to play a game with everybody except for Steven.
I think I gave up my chance to let somebody else play with somebody from the versus crew.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get to play with the Versus crew. I did a few side events, but I was gonna play with them on that Sunday, and then yeah.
Yeah. Aside from that, I spend most of my time at the conventions getting stuff signed. If I knew there's gonna be an artist that I really like there, or if I know that the YouTube celebrities are going to be there, I focus mainly on getting the stuff signed that I want to get signed and talking to them and just having the interaction. Because that's one of the reasons I'm on this podcast, is I really like what they do. I like to talk about Magic too, and I was like, well, why wouldn't I want to do the same thing? I mean, they have fun doing it. I know I would have fun doing it, and I do it all the time. But back to why we're here, preparing for a Magic convention. The do's and don'ts, what to bring, what not to bring, and what to expect.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, because especially if I get to go, I have no idea what I'm taking. You bring obviously bring Magic cards, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean,
no.
we do have a few people that just show up to meet the artist and buy prints and things like that.
Right.
Some people are really excited for that. Some people just go for the panels because getting in the event is free, and watching all the panels is free. Going up and getting most artist signatures, a lot of times are free. A lot of them don't charge anything for their signatures, and it's a great way to meet a lot of the people that you wouldn't otherwise get to meet.
That's cool.
So
do you trade? Do you take and trade? I mean, can you trade? I mean, obviously, there'll be people that are trading, buying. I mean,
oh yeah, people are always. I guess I've got a term for them. I call them scouters.
Nice.
They walk around the convention and they're constantly looking for trade stuff. They're waiting for
like
people
scalpers.
to get done with. Yeah, pretty much.
Tickets.
It's like a car salesman who sees somebody walk onto the lot. They're like, "Hey, listen, man, I've got this car for you." Or
kind of like Lon when you walk into the dugout.
Yeah.
Hey man, hey.
A lot of times, they'll just be random people walk up to you, be like, "Hey man, do you got a trade binder? Is there anything in specific that you're looking for?" And it's really cool. Everybody's really nice. Everybody's always trying to further their collection there, or try to trade up in value to try and. I guess some people just go and sell their stuff. I mean, a lot of times that's what I do. I save up throughout the year, and I mean, we go once every 6 months at this point, and I save up throughout the year and take boxes and binders of things that I like to get rid of just for the in-store credit.
Well, now, let's say you had a Foil Masters Chalice of the Void. something that a normal place, like a Parker Wayne dugout probably wouldn't take, whatever. I think it's like $170. Is that a place that you could get rid of that without sending it to Card Kingdom?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
absolutely.
one of those places.
I mean,
you would take the expensive cards like Earthcraft and all that stuff. That would be a good place.
They're one of the few stores that have their own like marketplace or store to the buy off of. They don't use TCG Player.
It's Star City Games.
Yeah.
They've got their own website. They've got their own. They are a vendor essentially. They will buy almost anything. They will not buy basic lands or tokens, but they will buy pretty much anything else. I don't know what their rates are though. I've heard over the past week. I've heard some different talks of like what their rates are on various things. So I'm not positive on what their rates are as far as buying and selling, but they will basically buy almost anything.
Yeah, I don't have one of those. I actually did open one of those right early on in my my last year, and I didn't even know what it was till I looked it up, and I'm like, oh my gosh!
Yeah. Some of those things
immediately.
Some of those things are real bombs, and if you've got like a high collection that you're looking to sell, going to a convention is an easy way to go ahead and get either that quick cash or even in-store credit. Obviously, you're going to do better with in-store credit, especially if you're looking to buy more cards with your cards. But a lot of times I just bring bulk binders and boxes. I know everybody that's riding up here with us has brought at least some kind of bulk that they're looking to get rid of too. So this won't be my first con. This won't even be my second con. I know for Colin and Daniel, this is you guys' second con. So it's a whole lot more fresh on you guys' mind. What did you guys think the first time you went to SCG Con?
If only I had more money to eat all the food, play all the games, and do all the things.
Isn't that everybody's?
I had a real good time. Like I did the sealed event for Disney and Ravnica, and I did a couple of the Commander events as well. So I definitely walked away with a lot more than I spent. But unfortunately, I didn't get to play any games with any of the Commander crew, which I would have liked to do that Sunday, but I wasn't able to. But I had a good time for the most part. Yeah, the Sunday day was not as fun as the other two, though.
Right, obviously.
I loved Sunday, by the way.
You would love the torture ride.
I didn't find it torturous at all.
I think he was the most calm out of everyone here.
The rest of us were kind of like,
this sucks.
Are we going to make it to a hotel room? Are we going to make it home? Are we even going to make it up this mountain?
There are probably reasons as to why I was the most calm, but they're not reasons that are magic related, so they're probably not for here to speak of.
There you go. Survival. It's the survival of the fittest.
But I am by far not the fittest person in this group.
Hey, shit happens. And, some people know how to roll with it, some people don't.
So, as of what to expect, definitely bring some really fun decks to play. If you're looking to just sit down and play games, there's constantly games going on, whether you're paying for them or you just want to sit down with a group of people. Definitely bring some really fun decks. If you're looking to buy into side events and things like that, I would bring some competitive decks, especially if we're talking about Commander, because a lot of times you'll sit down at those tables and somebody will pull out something like their fun jank deck, and then the guy across from them will pull out Shram Cheerios, and you'll already know what to expect from that guy. And you want to play with something that has the capability of going ahead and taking home those extra tickets. But for the most part, I'm bringing 2 decks. I'm going to bring my Sidar and Tana list, and I'm going to bring my Kess deck that we talked about last week.
Sweet.
And I mean, that way I'm prepared for if I want to sit down and have fun at a pod, I'm going to crack out Sidar and Hana. We're going to grind out a game. Or if I'm looking at a pod that I'm like, well, these guys are playing something that I consider fairly competitive, I can go ahead and crack out Kess and we can play a high-stakes game.
Does your daughter play Commander yet?
No, we're finding out where she is on the color pie right now.
Oh, gotcha.
Green. She wants green.
No, come on, blue. Please be my little blue player.
She's eating my Dungeons and Dragons miniatures right now. That's awesome. Got the whole crew up in here today.
Be the-
What was that? You said something on your
Are
breath.
you losing your train of thought, Colin?
Yes, I absolutely am.
Somebody hit him with that thought eraser.
Oh no!
So what else to do? So that's basically bring your cards and bring your trades.
Yeah, or bring whatever you're looking to go ahead and just get rid of your bulk stuff.
How much money for just a normal person? Say he was going by himself. Let's just scratch the hotel and the gas. How much can you do the 3 days eating wise? Like what's the number?
I think for strictly the con, it really depends on like what you want to do in terms of side events. So based on how well you do on side events, you can either get free entries or prize wall tickets. If you're planning on going for like standard or pauper, modern, legacy, one of those, or just a bunch of drafts. If you go for drafts, you're gonna have to fork up a little bit extra money. So it really depends on how you want to plan out your day. And if you plan out ahead of time, you could just save up the amount of money you need. Of course, for the several nights at hotel and the food. So you could spend as little as $100 there, upwards to maybe $700. It really depends on what you actually end up going there for.
I disagree.
And
I mostly agree, but I also partially disagree.
They've got several packages too. If you look online, like you can do the Commander Celebration. That's $75. A lot of times they'll have everything laid out. Like if you want to join into, like sometimes they have like PTQs.
Yeah.
PPTQs.
Yeah.
Whichever.
Sometimes they'll have stuff like that.
They had a vintage cube, like a huge payout vintage cube. Last time.
Yeah, it's like there are some of the big main events, and those will be a little bit costly. But if you're looking to just go for side events and stuff, like you can range from. I mean, you don't even have to go with $100. It just depends on how much Magic you want to play. Like if you want to just pop in, play 2 or 3 games, you can spend like probably $20, $30.
Wow.
And still hop back out and have a good time. I mean,
plus they have all the events listed on the website itself, so you could definitely plan out during your day. And I think they run several different events at the same time. So like modern, pauper, and standard are all going to run at the same time.
Oh yeah, that's a
several
great
times
thing.
a day.
That's a great thing I love about going to cons like this. A whole lot of times they're constantly firing events. So what happens is you go up to the registration desk and you say, "Hey, I want to play in a side event. I want to play in a Commander side event. I want to play in a standard side event and a modern side event." It'll be $5 most of the time, and they'll give you a buzzer, just like if you go to like Chili's or a restaurant or something like that. And they'll say, well, once this buzzer goes off, you'll have a full team of people ready to play, and you'll just come up to the front desk and we'll get you guys sorted. I mean, there are hundreds upon hundreds of tables there just waiting to be played on at all times.
Oh yeah, and I believe the Modern Horizon is going to be one of those on-demand events, right? For draft?
Yes, Modern Horizons on
that
will probably
fun.
should start Saturday at 8 a.m. for drafts.
I'm excited about the bear. I know everybody is, so whatever.
I'm actually really excited about this format. I actually looked at it a lot online.
Yeah, it looks good.
It seems to favor the ally pairs more than it does the enemy pairs, just from what I've seen in the set so far. With an exception of like Simic and Boros. But the set itself, I think I'm going to pick up an event, at least one, to draft this weekend, on top of the the Masters sealed, the $125 tournament for each of the Masters sets right now. So I'm excited to get that one going.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go into that with you. I've been on the cusp of it all week, and I'm like, I'll just go ahead and do it because there's value there. I mean,
it is the Masters sets. Plus, honestly, it's like, when are you going to get an opportunity to do this again? Because some of the master packs are getting harder and harder to come by. They're getting more and more expensive. Probably be better now than later when the packs increase in price. So yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So as far as the question concerning money, yes, they have a website. Almost anywhere that does large scale conventions like this, they have a website that has all of the events that they're doing all weekend long, what time they start, what the entry fee on that might be. They should have a link to that you could click on that talks about like info for whatever event it is, like what you get, what you could potentially earn as far as prizes and stuff, and everything like that. So like it would be smarter to, like, when they start posting this event online, because they do this months ahead of time. When they start posting this stuff online, go ahead and look at what you want to do for that weekend and save up that money. And then I would recommend saving up an extra $200 to $300 for anything extra that might happen while you're there.
And I mean, as far as events wise, I mean, I think we've covered just about everything that we can.
Yeah. We won't be playing Standard at that competition. I won't be. I don't think I'll ever play Standard again after last night's showdown.
Oh, well, why don't you tell us about it? How about you pass
I don't even
the
want
salt,
to talk
Garrick?
about it. Yeah, it's a little salt. So I come in. All right, so I've spent since Spark came out. I mean, since I started Magic a year ago, I've always just wanted to play zombies. Like I just want a competitive, just halfway competitive zombie deck, right? Right? Okay. So I start putting this thing together, and I'm like really messing with it, and send it to you guys, and I'm like, what do you think? Oh, it's good, great. So I started playing last night, 4th showdown, playing Lon. He's a good player, killing him. I mean, 3-0, just wiping him clean. Then we get into the showdown. I'm like, on 3 occasions, I had the people to 4, and I lose. I won 1 game the whole night. After beating Lon over and over and over with the same deck, I get into the competition, and I'm getting beat by the Lich. The Lich in the treasure map.
Oh, yeah, treasure map.
Come on, man.
Treasure map. Well, treasure map does that sometimes.
I had Gil down to 1. He had 1, and he lightning striked me, and then he riled me, and then he lightning striked me again, and then he skewered me, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, seriously. I didn't win anything. And I'm just like, you know what? Screw Standard, man. I'm done. I don't want to play it anymore. It's too frustrating. I left with my butt hurt for the first time ever. I love playing Magic. I literally left like, dude, F this place. I'm not coming back. I'm so tired of getting beat. That's how bad I was last night.
Oh yeah. I was also there last night. If you had paid any attention, I played round 1 and got beat so hard in round 1. I was like, all right, I'm done. The deck I borrowed from somebody, gave it back to that person. I'm like, cool, have a wonderful evening, and I went home.
Yeah, I saw you did drop. And even Jordan, at the end of at the 4 rounds, there was 14 people. I looked over and I said, you want to play a game of Commander? And he looked at me and he's like, I'm going to need about 15 minutes. And he had this look on his face like he was going to kill somebody. So it just must have been in the air. There was a lot of mono red, and it was
So mono red and Is It right now are atrocities in Standard. I mean, they are running mono red has been really strong for a really long time since Amonkhet, and it is overly oppressive. It's starting to beat people down. Even rotation can't stop it. I mean,
yeah,
mono red is a ever-existing deck.
And the funniest, best part of the evening occurs at the end after I've gotten my tail kicked in, and I'm salty anyway. Michael Rivas walks up to me with a stack of cards, and he goes, so your binder ended up on the counter over there where they sell the cards. and I went through it. He had sat there and gone through, took the Scarab God and Midnight Reaper, taking all these cards out of there thing, and he's like, why aren't these in the counter? Like, these all should be in the counter. So he gets them all, and he gets ready to go buy them. And Lauren's like, wait a minute. That's not ours. That's not ours. And then,
man.
So then I end up having to put all these cards that Michael pulled out of my binder back in, and I'm just like, scrape, let's go. I'm leaving.
Oh, no.
So there you go. So there's my, I hate Standard. I hate trying to keep up with it, and I'm like, I was so excited about that deck, and it looked pretty promising, and then it failed me. I didn't even get a pack. I got nothing. I got beat.
Oh, yeah, I felt the same way about Aristocrats in the first week I put it together. I got done with the first rendition of it, and the first two games were just backbreaking because it was just nothing but whether or not I was getting too many lands or not enough lands or just not enough pieces to even make the deck work. Until the last two games, I was actually able to compete. Last week, I was able to do much, much better with the deck the way I intended it to do. But I didn't get to play last night. I had some stuff I had to help at home, or else I would have been there. But I think it's more or less just not... I wouldn't say give up yet. I think it would be best to sort of stay persistent, kind of work on it a little bit more, figure out what went wrong.
Oh, I know exactly what went wrong.
Yeah, what went wrong is we had 8 new players show up that have been playing for about a week or less that were all playing either Mono Red or Isn't Storm.
Yeah, and man, my sideboarding...
It was horrible. Nobody at the store was really prepped for that. It was terrible.
My sideboarding is piss poor too, man. That's my problem. I against the Lich, Nathan had a fantastic deck. It had all sorts of... It had the Pharaoh statue and just stuff I hadn't seen. I didn't even know. I like Artifact. I don't even have any. I don't have any removal for that. I have nothing. So
red has artifact removal. Green has artifact and enchantment.
Oh, I know. But in my sideboard, I didn't have it because I just, you know what I mean? I fail at that, and I think that's half the reason I'm not as competitive as I should be. Is because when that first game happens, whether I win it or not, my sideboard is so terrible that it doesn't really help me. Like if I would have had Artifact, I could have gotten rid of the Lich, but I couldn't get rid of the Lich. I Verasked, bam, Verasked again, and then he put another one down, and I'm like, dude.
Game over, man. Game over,
man. Put her in charge.
So you guys were talking about new players showing up at Dugout. I had something really interesting happen Tuesday when we all showed up for Knowledge Pool. We had a brand new young man come in with what he thought was going to be a commander deck. And man, let me tell you, it really broke my heart because I had to explain the difference between Commander and Oathbreaker and how Commander works and how Oathbreaker works. So this kid comes in and he's got a deck. He's got Ral, Caller of Storms as his Commander.
Gotcha.
And I was like, oh no. And then he starts dropping cards that have the same name. Like multiples of the same card, and I was like, okay. I was like, the kid's talking to me, and he's telling me, he's like, yeah, I just started Commander, and all of my friends play, and they showed me how to play, and I'm like, okay, so now I know where this has gone downhill. We've got kids that are still in school, playing by schoolyard rules, Everybody's had that moment where they played by schoolyard rules, kitchen
unsleeved cards on the pavement.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And so me and one of the other players there, we sat down with him. We explained to him the difference between Oathbreaker and Commander, how Commander works, how Oathbreaker works, and we're really hoping that he comes back because it's a real young kid. And it reminds me a lot of, I've got a daughter. I want her to play Magic in the future. She's here now. She's getting ready to go on the trip with us. And I'm like, I've got to know all of this stuff to be able to teach new players, because one day my kid's going to be that new player, and if something were to ever happen to me, knock on wood, I would want somebody to do that for my kid. The kid pretty much came in. The dad was like, "Okay, go have fun. These guys look like they're playing with magic cards," and the dad left. First off, for any parents out there listening, we love to see new players. Please don't just drop off your kids and leave them there. Yeah, please don't do that. We're not a babysitter company. We love new players, but a lot of times parents will be like, "Well, my kid likes this. Well, I don't like this, but my kid likes this, so I'm gonna drop them off." Another great thing about Magic is I've seen a lot of parents bring their kids to an F&M and see their kid playing and having fun, and they're like, "Hey, I want to do this with my kid. I want to have fun with my kid. I want to sit down and play Magic with my kid. I may not even like the game." I've seen so many parents get hardcore into Magic and start building decks and be like, "Yeah, me and my kid play." And I'm like, "That's great. That's family bonding. That's you're having time with your kids and bonding." Even if it's not something that you like, at least stay there, support your children for
Stay
going
on the
to play.
phone. Sit there on the phone and be there to make those adjustments.
Or bring a book.
Stay there. And
because
sit in the corner.
Like a lot of times I see parents just leave, and I'm just like, what happens if your kid's having a bad time? Or what happens if your kid does something really cool? And that's like a kid showing up to a karate tournament and their parents not showing up,
Right?
Yeah. And the kid takes home first place.
But dropping your daughter off at softball games instead of staying and watching.
Yeah,
Just don't do that.
Why would you do you want to be there? You want to support your kids. I want to support my kids. At least 2 of us at this table have kids, and and
I've got 5 of them.
We know that privilege, that honor it is to be there and see, that was my kid's first home run. She plays softball. Or look, my kid just cast a counter spell and won the game.
And that's awesome.
That's there's no difference.
That's the nerdy equivalent of home run.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the equivalent.
I'm gonna be super ecstatic if my kid grows up and she's like, I love Magic too. The first game she wins, I'm probably like gonna burst out in tears of excitement. I'm gonna be clapping. I'm gonna be like, yes,
Hercules,
you did it. You got there. Yes, but even if it's not something that you like, please stay with your kids, support them. Don't look at the place as like, this is my chance to drop off the kid, go do what I want. We're not babysitters. We love to see your kids come and play. We support any player wanting to come and play. We're not a daycare.
Yeah. While we're still on this tangent about kids and parents not just having their kid and dropping their kid off and everything, some of these cards in the second-hand and third-hand market are worth lots of money. Not everyone in the community is as kind as the 4 or 5 of us in this room. And they will try, if you just leave your kid and your kid wants to do trades, your kid is fairly young and doesn't understand value or money or anything. Yeah. There are people that will trade them something that is worth no value for 2 or 3 things that they have that might be worth $100 a piece.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I've seen that happen, and this ties into going to the convention as well. If you're going to take stuff to trade at the convention, keep up with your stuff. Anytime you go to an event, even if it's at your local game store, keep up with your stuff.
Or have someone you know and trust help keep up with your stuff if you have to walk away.
Right, because not everyone is going to be as kind or as southern hospitality as the majority of us in this room. There are people out there. I talked to a guy who used to be a professional. He stopped being a professional because he went to a high-level tournament and let his buddy borrow some stuff. His buddy literally sat the backpack down behind his chair.
No.
And it was the guy's turn in whatever event he was in. He played a card and passed the turn. And in roughly the 3 to 5 seconds it takes for you to play a card and pass the turn, somebody literally came by and grabbed his bag and walked off with it.
Oh, that's.
my gosh.
I don't even think that's the worst thing that I've heard happen.
Oh yeah, no. That's not the worst thing I've heard happen, but it caused somebody who was on the pro level for a short time period to completely stop playing the game because he learned to play in an environment where everyone understood, this stuff has value. I should not steal. I should not lie. Or,
Oh yeah.
the majority of that. He learned good moral values and went to a big thing and lost probably $200,000 or $300,000 worth.
I'd say keep it between your legs. Make sure you have it in your contact at all moments.
Yeah.
The horror story that I've had
was with Cody Silvers, right?
Well, hold on, I don't mention any names. I don't do that.
Well,
I don't name drop anybody.
I do.
I don't mind name dropping in a good way, not in a bad way, obviously.
So maybe we can do something about that because I don't know the guy on a personal level. I know what happened, and I know for a fact that it happened because the person that was wronged is somebody that I do know, and I know they wouldn't lie about this.
Yeah.
So
that name I will not state.
So what happened was someone borrowed a deck from another person and took it to a high level event and lost multiple rounds in a row with that deck. And I wouldn't say that it was due to the deck being bad. I would probably blame it more on the skill level of the player based on what I know. But the player got angry and decided that they were going to take that deck that was not theirs, that they were borrowing, and sell it.
What?
Yep. Took it straight over to one of the side tables and sold every penny of it.
Okay, so you understand the value of most of the standard decks, right?
Yeah.
This was not a standard deck.
This was not a standard deck.
legacy
This was
deck.
a legacy
Oh
deck.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so, I mean,
I remember
I
hearing
can
that for
only
the first
imagine.
time.
That is a gut wrenching story.
What kind of person does that?
The guy comes back.
I'll tell you after the podcast.
The guy comes back and he's like, "Hey man, listen, we got to talk because I got angry. I did something I shouldn't have done, and I sold off every bit of your deck." And the other guy was like, I know he had to have been mad. He had to have been angry. I can only imagine how mad I would be at somebody for this. But he gave the guy an opportunity. He said, "Hey, I will let you buy back every single card of mine that you sold. I will not give you a time limit on this, but you will have to pay me back in card form every single card that was gone," because the guy, luckily, he keeps deck list. And I mean that is a scary thought to think about. So I mean, anybody in this room, I would let you guys take my decks to events, but if it's somebody that you don't know and they're asking to take a deck to an event to borrow, please don't do it. Just make sure you know a person before you lend them anything like that. I mean, legacy decks are a lot of money. Even budget legacy decks cost a lot of money, and I mean that's saying a lot. I mean, just lands. Just think about the lands.
I know that the deck wasn't budget because I know the person who had the guy basically told the guy he had to pay for everything. I've seen most of the legacy decks that guy has. Most of those cards are the promo altars.
Oh my gosh.
So you're already talking, $2, $3, $4 grand for a deck by itself. But then you have to think about, the value of the altar, like the alternate art versions that are promotional material that you can occasionally pick up somewhere. Especially when you have 3 copies of a promo art of something that's $300 or $400 by itself for 1 copy. So I've seen some of those decks and it was really bad. I know of another story that involves the same gentleman who had to have his stuff bought back. I had a friend borrow something from that guy, and it wasn't his fault. He put the deck down to look at somebody's collection he was going to trade with. So the deck was still right there next to him. The deck was stolen. in the blink of an eye, just the deck was gone. And he went to the guy and he was like, "Hey, it was stolen. I will totally buy back the whole deck." And I was like, "Yep, that's fine. Like, you're agreeing to that right off the bat. As long as you do that, we won't have any problems." It took him 3 to 4 years to buy back everything.
Oh my god!
Because the deck was the
So
alternate promotional stuff. But he did finally get it back for the guy. So yeah, if you don't know the person, don't lend them anything. I was gonna say something else. I can't remember.
Don't lend your cards out. There we go.
I think the only horror story I've actually seen was actually quite recent. It was actually not even the Magic crowd. I think it was the Yu-Gi-Oh crowd. Somebody left
that's why right there.
Yeah,
that's it. Those degenerate Yu-Gi-Oh players, right?
He just left his deck on the table, and somebody just yoinked it, gone with it.
The honest truth about this stuff is there are people out there in the world. I mean, it's sad to say that just look to prey upon other people. They see that these cards are worth something. They obviously know that, so they'll just come by and they'll yank it and it'll be gone. I mean, it sucks to say, and I really hate that we have to even caution anybody about this. But watching your stuff is a very important lesson to learn. And I mean, I've seen it happen to Pokemon kids before. Like I used to help run a Pokemon league, and I've seen that happen at a pre-release. The kid opens up a Pokemon, like one of the EX cards or the GX now, but somebody would just come by and swap cards, and it would be gone. And then we have to go and look at cameras and find out what happened. And I mean, it really sucks, but there are people out there like that, and it's dirty, but it is what it is. So yeah. I mean, I'm glad we're cautioning people about watching their cards, watching their stuff, making sure you don't let anything that is of personal value of you get out of your sight.
Yeah, I learned that lesson as a kid. I had a few GXs that sat in the front of my little tiny binder when I used to collect Pokemon cards. I didn't even play; just collected them. Put it in my desk. I come back. Those 3 cards were gone.
Yeah,
somebody just yoinked them.
Yep.
Well, the natives are getting restless. You want to break down this deck so you guys can get on the road?
Yeah, I was fixing to say, let's go ahead and transition from something that's a horror story.
Yeah, horror stories.
Something
a little less horror.
Enjoy. Let's hop into something that we actually like to see happen.
Well, I mean, technically, this is part of a horror story. This was built out of hatred. This is my rendition of Momir Vig, or as I like to call it, Deja Vig instead of Deja Vu. So Momir Vig, Simic Visionary, is my commander. He's a 5-mana 2/2 elf wizard in blue-green in the Simic color combination. He's fantastic. He's got, apart from the fact that he's a 2/2 and he costs 5 mana, those are the only negatives about him, because he dies to some of the easiest removal and he takes a little bit to cast. Apart from that, his abilities are as follows. Whenever you cast a green creature spell, you may search your library for a creature card and reveal it. If you do, shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. Whenever you cast a blue creature spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put that card into your hand. So each section of text there was its own section. The green creature is its own section of text, and the blue creature is its own section of text. So if you cast a blue-green creature, you can stack the abilities so that you search for the creature first and then reveal it to add it to your hand. So any blue-green creature spell turns into basically a semi-demonic tutor for another creature of your choice. So I like this deck because it basically just plans on bouncing things. The overall goal of the deck is to make everyone's lives just a pain in the butt by casting Whelming Wave or Evacuation a whole bunch of times. Evacuation says 5 mana, instant speed, return all creatures to their owner's hands. So if you can get the right stuff out, like Eternal Witness or Green Warden of Marasa, which I play in the deck, either one of those causes the Evacuation or Whelming Wave to be a soft lock. Especially in a format where creature decks are rampant to an extent, because every turn you can just replay your Eternal Witness, get back your Whelming Wave or your Evacuation, and then replay it to bounce your own Eternal Witness to your hand, but also bounce all the other creatures to their owner's hands. So it works kind of like a soft lock. I play two primary forms of instant speed. That's Leyline of Anticipation and Vidalcan Orrery. I play a third semi-form of instant speed, which is Teferi, Mage of Zalfir, which is the creature version of Teferi instead of any of the Planeswalker versions. The creature version is a little bit better in my opinion because it gives all of my creature cards flash, and it says my opponents can only cast spells whenever they couldn't cast a sorcery. So that's pretty good. For the most part, I'm playing some just come into play dirtily value town creatures. I play Sakura Tribe Elder to go get a land. Farhaven Elf gets a land. Solemn Simulacrum goes and gets a land. I play Cloud of Fairies, which was a recent addition to the deck. Which, when it comes into play, I untap up to 2 lands that I control, or up to 2 target lands. It's a 2-mana 1/1 of flying. It also has cycling. This deck will never use it to cycle, period. I also play Peregrine Drake, which is the 5-mana version of Cloud of Fairies. It also untaps 5 lands instead of 2. I play 12 multicolored creatures other than Momir that are blue and green, so that you can go find other pieces and put them into play or put them in your hand as you need them. Coiling Oracle should go in any Simic deck. It's a 2-mana 1/1. When it comes into play, you reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, it goes straight into play. If it's not a land, you put that card into your hand. The phrasing of "put that card into your hand" matters because some people will be like, you can only draw 1 card a turn, or the new Narset that's static ability. Your opponents can only draw 1 card a turn. The ability of put that card into my hand. I'm not drawing that card. I'm putting that card in my hand. So it gets around. It gets around effects that are just like you can only draw 1 card, or you can't draw cards at all, or anything like that because you're putting the cards in your hand. I also play Frilled Mystic, Mystic Snake, Venser Shaper Savant, and Draining Whelk. All 4 of those creatures, when they come in, 3 of those 4 creatures, when they come into play, will counter a spell. The Venser Shaper Savant, when it comes into play, it will allow you to bounce a spell or permanent back to its owner's hand. The wording there matters. Some people realize that counter spells are a thing in Commander, so they like to play things that say can't be countered. When you return a spell to a player's hand, yes, you're countering it, but you're not using the term
you're returning it.
You counter the spell, you're returning it.
So that basically, if I negated that, you'd be like, well,
but you can't negate Venser. He's a creature. Negate says non-creature
that's
spell.
Right. Yeah.
But like if you played a spell that I didn't want you to have that said can't be countered,
right? I
could play this, return the spell to your hand, and I've effectively countered the spell, but without saying counter that spell.
Understood. So yeah. So if I put it down and said it can't be countered, you're like, it's not being countered, but you still have to pick it up.
Right. Right. My other counter suite is Pact of Negation at 0 mana, Remand and Counterspell at 2. Void Slime is a good catch-all counterspell at 3. It'll counter a spell or an activated or triggered ability. Cryptic Command, probably the best counter magic card in the game. And Mystic Confluence, which is a slightly worse Cryptic Command, but still pretty good. And I play one other counterspell, which is probably going to come out because it's only good when you have tons and tons of mana, and that is Spellburst. Spellburst is a 1 blue X counterspell. So Spellburst says counter target spell with converted mana cost X. So in order to counter something with Spellburst, you have to pay a blue plus the spell's converted mana cost that you want to counter. Yeah, so it can get a little heavy. Spellburst has 1 extra ability, and that is Buyback. So for an additional 3 mana, I can, instead of Spellburst going to my graveyard as it resolves, it goes to my hand. So for 4 mana and the value of a spell, the CMC of a spell, I can counter your spell and retain a counter spell in my hand. So early game, it's really bad because it's, 1 blue and then X to counter a spell, and then an additional 3 to return the spell to my hand.
I have that capsize in my commander deck. That's great too with the buyback.
Yes. So the
Another bounce and then bounce again.
Yeah. So the primary goal of the deck, the reason it's Deja Vig, is because the deck was originally built around, oh, you're going to play your stuff, I'm just going to bounce it all. You're going to play it again, I'm going to bounce it again. You're going to play it again, I'm going to bounce it again. It's literally, my goal is to bounce everything that you get tired of replaying the same stuff to the point where you either kill me or I'm just going to bounce you forever. I will eventually bounce you out of the game. So I play things like Capsize, the Whelming Wave, the Evacuation. I also play Scourge of Fleets, which is a semi-pet card of mine. Scourge of Fleets is a 7-mana 6/6. When it comes into play, you return each creature your opponent's control with toughness X or less, where X is equal to the number of islands you have in play. So the ability references islands based on land type, not name. So dual lands that have the island typing will add to that. Because of this reason, I play more basic islands than I do basic forests in the deck, because I want to be able to hit more stuff. So that's the primary function of the deck. I do play a creature called Rashmi, Eternity's Crafter.
It's a frustrating deck because it bounces everything.
So Rashmi, Eternity's Crafter says, whenever you cast your first spell each turn, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a non-land card with converted mana cost less than that spells, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. If you don't cast the revealed card, put it into your hand. So if I have Momir Vig in play and Rashmi in play, and I play my first spell for the turn that happens to be a blue-green creature, I have 2 triggers for Momir and a trigger for Rashmi. There's a ton of ways you can stack that. You could stack that to do Rashmi's first and then do the search. You could stack Momir to search, then Rashmi, and then if you get to cast something off of Rashmi, you get to search with Momir again, depending on what you're casting. And then finally, you stack the reveal trigger to resolve last, so that you get the reveal off of Momir last, so you potentially get an extra card to your hand. Or you could stack it Momir first, do all of Momir's abilities first, and then do Rashmi. My favorite thing to do is to have Rashmi and Momir in play and play Shardless Agent. Shardless Agent has Cascade, which is another cast trigger. So if Shardless Agent is my first spell for the turn, I can stack it so that I search with Momir off of the Shardless Agent cast to go find Sakura Tribe Elder. Then reveal Sakura Tribe Elder off of Rashmi's ability and cast Sakura Tribe Elder and search for Coiling Oracle. And put Coiling Oracle on top of my library from Momir. Then Cascade trigger, revealing Coiling Oracle and casting it for free, and then just go get something else and put it in my hand, some other creature and put it in my hand. And then Coiling Oracle will come into play and do its ability, and then finally do the reveal trigger off of the Shardless Agent from Momir Vig. So for one actual spell from my hand, I've cast 2 other spells for free and gotten an X value in both board state and cards in hand. That's just my favorite thing to do. This deck also plays a lot of clone type effects. Clone type effects, in my opinion, are some of the best effects that you can have in any deck that plays blue. Primarily because the clone effects are only in blue. There is 1 or 2 in green. There are not many. The other thing is most clone effects don't target. So anything that has hexproof that's a really good creature, using a clone effect, hey, you get it because it comes in as a copy of. You don't target, so you don't have to worry about hexproof. The other thing that's really good about clones is you can clone, most of the time you can clone legendaries. As long as your opponent's controlling the legendary, you get it. You also get the legendary. But yeah, pretty much just bounce a bunch of stuff, play a bunch of things, make you hate your deck because you're playing the same stuff over and over and over and not getting anywhere.
So what would you say were some of your more important pieces to make the deck run efficiently?
To make it run efficiently?
Yeah.
Temple of the False God, Simic Growth Chamber, Jungle Basin, and Carol Atoll, which are 4 lands that I play in the deck that all tap for more than 1 mana, and then either Cloud of Fairies or Peregrine Drake with either Temur Sabertooth or Deadeye Navigator. Like, the Rashmi's cool. I know most of you at this table are just like, Rashmi's evil.
Yeah.
Rashmi's cool, but I very rarely like go fetch Rashmi and put her in and like do things with her. It's most of the times if I'm playing Rashmi, I didn't search for her. It's because she got in my hand somehow, and I'm like, cool, I'm just gonna play her.
Because I've seen you explode with this deck quite often.
I think we've all seen him explode with this deck quite often.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, like, some of your bigger plays, like, you either hit those or you hit, like, Rashmi with Seaborn Muse and Momir Vig, and any amount of flash that you could possibly get a hold of, and pretty much play on everybody else's turn. We could just be like, land, play a spell, pass, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this about 5 times real quick.
Are you going to play that competitively this weekend?
I don't know if I'm going to play it competitively or not. I am taking it with me. So, yes, again, this deck was originally born out of Hatred, and
yes.
the original general of the deck was Krufix, God of Horizons, which, while it's in play, I have no maximum hand size, and any unspent mana in my mana pool becomes colorless and just gets stored through her ability. So, yes, Seaborn Muse is a potential crucial factor for the deck. But the only reason Seaborn Muse was even originally in the deck was so that I could just float mana at my opponent's end step and channel it into Krufix and save it for a later time. The other thing is I do have a slightly larger ramp package, and one of the ramp spells that I play that I don't see a ton of other decks play is Animist Awakening. Animist Awakening is an X green spell that says, reveal the top X cards of your library, put all land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. But if you have Spell Mastery, which means if you have 2 or more instant and sorcery cards in your graveyards, or in your graveyard, you'll get to untap the lands that came into play. I've seen somebody talk about this card where basically anytime you cast it, expect to get roughly 1/3 the amount of lands that you paid for the X value. So like on an X value of 10, look to get like 3 lands. I have seen multiple occasions where you do an X value of 10 and you get nothing. I've seen more occasions where you do an X value for 10 and get like 7. In my deck, it's probably a little better because I know most people that play Commander don't play 39 or 40 lands, and I play roughly that many in every deck I build. So most of the times, for me, Animist Awakening, whatever the X value is, I'm going to hit 50% or better. 9 times out of 10, whatever the X value is, for me, I'm going to hit 50% or better. Which is a whole lot better than 33% or less.
Yeah.
Well, that's impressive. Like to see how that does.
Yeah, I really like playing against it because we
should
never
have, like, 5
know
infinite
what sticks around whenever Daniel plays Momir Vig because it's either bounced or countered.
The other thing is, currently, I am debating on foiling the deck out again. So the reason that's a debate is because I want the entire deck to be foil. So I will not play cards that do not have foil versions. Currently, part of my land base doesn't have foil versions, so I will have to find replacements. The other thing is I recently took out some really good cards because there are no foil versions of those cards. And I've talked to a couple of judges. Most of the time, if you're playing in an event and you have a foil deck, your judges want your foil cards to be a very minute portion, or the entire deck has to be foil. Because anything in between could be considered like marking your cards or whatever. Like it becomes,
like you have some sort of
it becomes a slight pain.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I'm not seeing in this deck list is probably the most powerful card in all of Magic the Gathering.
If you say
Stormcrow.
Dun dun dun.
I think you meant like Crowstorm.
yeah.
That's not Commander legal.
Yeah,
Are
but
you
it's
sure?
better.
Yeah, Crowstorm.
Drop of honey. Drop, that's
It
a
was
green
for a
deck.
short period of time, but all silver bordered cards are not legal.
Oh, yes. Yes, you are correct. Silver border cards are not legal.
But you could be playing the infamous Stormcrow.
Why would I want to play... Okay. What is the converted mana cost of Stormcrow?
3, a blue and 2 generic.
Okay.
Wrong.
How much is it?
It's 1 and a blue for a 1/2 flyer.
No way, man.
A two mana 1/2
Listen,
flyer.
everybody knows the rules of Stormcrow. If it gets into your hand, you put it on the battlefield and your opponent's scoop.
Do they scoop out of pity or laughter? Like
No, they scoop out of. They just can't deal with
I'm
it.
sorry, I'm at the wrong table.
They might scoop you into a dump truck, but they certainly don't scoop to seeing a 2 mana 1/2 flyer that has no other abilities. A more relevant flying creature is Thieving Magpie at 4 mana for a 1/3 flyer that says when it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card.
The problem is, that's just not Stormcrow.
It's better. It's a Thieving Magpie.
Listen, I'm here to defend his honor. There is no better card than Stormcrow.
Stormcrow.
I disagree. Crowstorm is infinitely better.
He's the
but not
Stormcrow
better.
guy.
it does the removal.
I don't think I would be playing Magic the Gathering if
Like
the card
I'm
Stormcrow
the
didn't
zombie
exist.
guy. Oh, here comes that Rakdos zombie guy. This will be easy wins.
So you
Well, I have an
know-
idea for a gag gift now.
So, you know what happens in Yu-Gi-Oh! You play Exodia, you win. What happens in Pokemon? You play 2 puzzles at a time to get 2 puzzles at a time, you win.
Okay.
But, if you play Magic the Gathering, you just play the Stormcrow and you win.
Okay, so here's the thing. Since you brought Yu-Gi-Oh! Into this debate,
Oh gosh.
if you're going to play Yu-Gi-Oh!, you're going to play Victory Dragon, and then you don't just win the game, you win the entire match.
But that's not Exodia.
It doesn't need to be. It literally... Victory Dragon is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card that states if you use Victory Dragon via combat damage to win your current game, you automatically win your next game as well.
Wow.
It is banned in every Yu-Gi-Oh! Format that I know of.
So what you're saying is, it's Stormcrow but banned.
No, because it's a dragon.
It's Banned Crow.
Banned crow.
It might eat the crow for a snack.
This argument's going to go on for 3.5 hours.
This
to
argument-
run.
Alright guys, well, I think that wraps it up for another episode of Cardboard Kitchen.